Hello and welcome back, guys! It's me again! To another episode of Concept Conception, which you can probably read under the title of this video! So yeah, guys, I would say that I'm here with the host, Gun, but Gun is not here at the moment. So for that reason, you won't be hearing his voice in this episode. I promise that the next time I film this series, he will be here. So, yeah, that said, let's move straight into Concept Conception with your hosts, Young and Joshua. Or just Young today, because, well, Joshua's elsewhere. And yes, in case you guys haven't figured this out by now, these are a bunch of older technologies and stuff that was popular back in the day, because, you know, this show's intended to represent old folks. Here we have, on the left, we have a phonograph, the thing they used to use back in the day to play records. Or, I guess, as you guys might want to call it, a record player. Then we have the Nintendo Entertainment System in the front there, along with the old TV. I'm not joking, that's most likely the kind of TV you would be using to play Nintendo back in the day. Things have changed a lot. And we also have the Beatles. Very popular band. In the 60s, I think? I'm not so sure. Moving on. So, today's episode is a viewer-suggested topic. I told you guys I would hold up my end of the bargain with your fan suggestions. So, here it is. Today's episode was suggested by Memerific Boy. And his comment was, maybe for episode 3, you should say who's doing good and bad within the camp. So, without further ado, my own original take on this comment, the top 5 best contestants in Joshua's Object Camp. And later on in the video, you'll get to see who I think are the top 5 worst. So let's get started. Number 5. Toxic Waste, Jack Kickings. It's a real pity that people are voting him to get out in the next episode. I can't stress this enough. Have you guys seen anything of... I'm going to stop my comment right now because those who have seen this comment will already know that he's going to be somewhere inside of the top 5 worst competitors. So, yeah. So why do I think that Toxic Waste is number 5? Well, it's nothing too specific. Like the rest of the people in this top 5, he is an active participant in the fan base. But the reason why he's this low on the list is because he doesn't post as much as the other 4 people on this list. But I still consider him to be an excellent competitor despite this. So well done, Toxic Waste, and keep up the good work. Another thing to note is that when this camp first started, he was one of the best commenters, and I wished him luck within the camp. Unfortunately, if things go most people think they will, Toxic Waste is going to be leaving next episode. Or will it, huh? I'm not giving anything away here, but there may be a slight chance that he isn't going. I'm not saying anything here. Moving on. Number 4 is... Neptune, Pickle Power. And I'm sorry, Pickle Power, your, channel pick is a little bit outdated, but that's okay, because the good news is, I have finally started on that collection of, channel icons. He really does have a lot of channel icons, you know. Number 4, why is he number 4? When Neptune signed up in the comments, I was unaware at the time that someone else had attempted to sign up as Neptune, but I do not regret my decision in the slightest. Neptune has, in my opinion, one of the best users in the camp. His confessionals are always unique, and he always participates in challenges. He also contributes a lot to the community. Strangely, however, I have yet to put together the collection of channel icons that I said I would put together. That is no longer true because As of the next time his channel icon is shown, I will have 3 different icons. I'm also thinking of doing, like, similar to what I did with, Transgender back in episode 4, part 2 with the, race car. I'm thinking of, like, for Neptune's confessionals, I'm thinking of having a background filled with all of his channel icons throughout the camp. So that's actually going to be a very interesting thing. Moving on. Number 3 is Monalisa, the golden minecart. You may be wondering why the toilet is there. He's actually part of my brother's, other stuff that's going on. He's a personal friend of my brother's. Also, the golden sword and the golden ingot are intended to represent his new channel intro, so well done, buddy. Monalisa, Golden Minecart 1, why is he number 3? He's the user that pulled this character out of the Dark Ages. He's the one that saved me and the host from our troubles. Ladies and gents, he is the one and only Golden Minecart. He's amazing, and that's because he knows the host and I personally. He's always been keen to ask about updates on the camp, and he's got an ocean of memories surrounding him. Unfortunately, most people will be too young to get that reference. He's one user whose impact will never be forgotten in this camp. Here's hoping he'll make it to the finale. Number 2 is Adams, Ethan Banks. Adams, or Petrol, if you've seen episode 5, part 1, Ethan Banks. I made a rule for this list, but I had to pick one potential debuter. Out of these people, I picked Ethan Banks. He is one of the more persistent users of the potential debuters, always submitting a confessional, always watching our latest videos regardless of what they are, and that, my friend, classifies a very likely candidate to debut. Here's hoping that he does get into the camp in episode 8, part 1. And the number 1 most liked contestant in the camp is Orange James Brooks, or, as some of you may hear me say in Orange's words of wisdom, James Brooks. Sorry, I'm not willing to do the full British accent for this video, I'm sorry. Number 1, Orange James Brooks. Orange is probably the best user we have, and most likely the best user we'll ever have. He could most likely serve as a role model to competitors that are just coming into our camp and into other camps. He has introduced Orange's words of wisdom, which I have to admit has taught me a few things myself. This is a contestant that will make it far into the competition, and for his first object camp, it will most likely be one of his best. One of my missions this season was to make this object camp for his... One of my missions this season was to make this object camp for this first-timer the best ride he'll ever have. Looks like I've accomplished that mission. Unfortunately, where there are 5 good contestants, and now, on to our next segment. It's called the top 5 worst characters in Joshua's object camp. Number 5. Everyone who was eliminated for not doing the challenge. Which would be Top Hat, Cheese Horb, Asthma Inhaler, and Dollar. I can't stress how important doing the challenge is. I believe Orange's words of wisdom once were something along the lines of that you have a better chance at winning the challenge if you actually do the challenge. These 4 people didn't do challenges. Dollar is the only exception, as he did do challenge 2. And look what happened to them. If they rejoin, odds are they're getting new users. Number 4. Blindfold. Yeah, you guys probably knew Blindfold was going to be on this list somewhere. And for that matter, all 5 currently eliminated competitors are on this list somewhere. So, yeah. Okay, I know he was always active, and provided some of the better confessionals in this camp, and he always did challenges. But the big reason he's here is how much he picked on others. He picked on Neptune at least twice, Orange once, and even Transgender was unable to escape his wrath. The only forgiving factor in his teasing is that at least they were all members of the opposite team. Number 3 for the worst competitors ever is Ping Pong Ball, the person who I personally want to go home in the next episode. But people just won't believe me. So here's my chance to explain why I want him to leave the game. And his user, in case you guys even know who it is Daryl Kennedy. Remember him? I'm assuming most of you don't. Is he aware that this camp exists? Are you aware that he exists? Monalisa brought up a very valid point when he said that it's hard to notice Ping Pong Ball. Some of the most bland confessionals I've seen, along with an on-again, off-again relationship with the camp, makes Ping Pong Ball the most mysterious contestant of the bunch. He's kind of like Teardrop in a way. Very foreboding. Number 2, and this is the entry I was referencing. I'm not so sure if it was the earlier take or at the beginning of the video, but you will notice that there's a difference in the user. Here it is. Monalisa, Nick Barkenhagen. Yes, you may notice that Monalisa is on the list twice, or rather on both lists. But it's a different user. I'll explain why. Wow. Just wow. He was one of the earlier ones to sign up, but my goodness, he never did any challenges. The only reason he's worse as well, because he risked being eliminated. People who don't do challenges aren't useful for your team. So keep that in mind. Also, Mr. Barkenhagen, I answer my question myself. Your name apparently means that you're an opportunist. Kind of like a German. Oh my gosh! And number 1 is, cue the sad music here. Thomas Hart. Now I know you're probably all asking yourself the same question if you've gotten to this point in the video. Don't tell me, just let me guess. I got it. You're all asking me that. Who is this Thomas Hart character? I don't know who this Thomas Hart guy is. Well, did you know this? He signed up as Neptune before Pickle Power, or at the time, Slurpy Dude 2. But there are 2 reasons why he wasn't accepted. The first of these 2 reasons was a mistake on my part. He had signed up before Pickle Power, I just never checked my personal messages. Second, by the time I checked his message, the camp was already 5 episodes in. I had no choice but to disregard his comment entirely. So the 2 important things to take out of this top 5 worst competitors list is that firstly, you should always do the challenge on time. And second, you should never PM me. See you next time on Concept Conception with your hosts, Young and Joshua. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.